What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Hope you're doing well today. I have rage quit FIFA for the day. I'm fed up of going win-loss, win-loss, win-loss and not progressing anywhere. So, we're on MX Bikes and welcome to the farm. Now some of you might feel like, hey, this track looks similar to another track that we've played recently, and you would indeed be correct. T-Bell recently released his own version of the farm. However, this is created by Mr. Dylan Frisch. Now, I feel a bit sorry for them, to be honest. It must suck like working ages on a track to then realise that someone else is doing exactly the same thing. But I'm glad that it wasn't kind of stopped and halted. I like seeing multiple variations of the same track in game. Now, this one, apparently there's been a lot of like road testing going on behind the scenes for this, and it's meant to develop pretty damn good. Now, I am by myself in testing today. I'm not in an online lobby, so obviously it will limit how far we can go. But just having a look at it as well, it looks very nice and flowy. It looks like it's scaled a little bit bigger than T-Bell's one was, and I'm going to be riding the TM again today just as practice, because the day I'm recording this is the 2nd of October, which is actually qualifiers day, so it'll give me a little bit more practice on the bike. And without further ado, let's hop into it and see how it goes. If you've been putting off buying that new MX gear, or you're just looking for some new daily MX related clothing, then head on over to fxrracing.com. Code MXPR_Lins15 at checkout will give you 15% off all motocross and lifestyle products. This code is applicable to the European, Swedish and Norwegian websites, and not Canada or the USA. And whilst I've got your attention, you may as well subscribe to the channel. It's just one click of a button and it puts a big old smile on my face. Hope you enjoy the rest of the video. So, first question off the bat. Do we break the drip? Yes or no? I got this, a couple of people asked in the last video actually, with Imriaz's chest protector. I got it off the MX Bike shop. I cannot for the life of me remember who made it, so I do apologise. But I think it looks very, very nice. Just a downside now that I can't see my my name and number at all, which kind of sucks. We are also on the EICMA, or I guess I'm going to start calling it EICMA. It's easier to say, isn't it? The EICMA TM. So it actually looks really nice, and I don't think I've ever ridden a red TM before, but it was created by, oh my Christ.
He needs some milk!
It was created by Mr. JVDL, who I am a big fan of his skins. He made a couple of skins for the OEM Honda. Actually, I'm not sure if I guess they still apply to the most recent update. But yeah, before that, when I was doing some of the GPs, experimenting with the Honda a little bit, I used some of his skins for a while. And he's a very, very clever man. He's the one who has been working with the OEM team to try and sort out these hill physics. He's also, I think, the main, if not one of the main people behind that, is it the MXO Unleashed mod? Can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but it's going to really annoy me. I tried getting that to work at one point, and because of my lack of computer knowledge, it wasn't doing it for me. So that video never came to be, but yeah, maybe one day if we get to it. So I'm gonna have to spin a couple of laps here to get used to things. You'd think, because I've played T-Bell's version, I should be absolutely fine and just flow my way around the track. I cannot emphasise enough just how differently one track will ride to another depending on who created it, which I think could be a very good idea to challenge a few track creators to at some point, is to give them probably a replica track, because I think that's easier to set the base of, and then give them all like a week and say like, right, here's the track, recreate it to the best of your ability, and then after a week take those tracks and compare them all to each other and see how they all ride and how they feel, because every track creator has their own way of doing things. Now, some people prefer like quite skinny ruts with choppy rough. Some people like it to be a bit more wide open, where you carry a lot more speed around the track. Obviously, everyone builds their jump faces different to each other as well. And I think it'd be a very, very interesting result. So if you like that idea or have any other kind of track building ideas for me, do let me know. Because I asked a question to the Track Builders Discord the other day of would anybody be interested in that sort of thing and having like a topic for a set track and everyone competes against each other, and quite a few of them were up for the idea. I know that Mr. Reaperdoc has done that kind of thing in the past, where he's given people a week to build a track, and he's tested them all, and we've had some really good tracks come out of that, like Hurren's Tangled Web, for example. So I know it's possible, and oh god, I'm doing exactly the same thing in that section on this track as I did on the other the farm.
Skill issue.
Oh, where I just check up a little bit too much, because the jump face looks pretty damn big, and then by the time you hit it, it's a no-go. It's not great at all. You might notice, hopefully, I mean, I say hopefully, I feel like I've got a little bit better since the last video that you watched of me on this bike. I'm kind of slowly getting there in regards to just kind of learning how the bike turns. I'm going off the track here, aren't I?
I'm kind of retarded.
I am slowly getting there. However, I'm a little bit worried because so the round 1 qualifying is going to be on Maggiora in Italy, which is a track that has been out for quite a while now. I'm aware that a bunch of people have been grinding it from time to time. I've hopped on it for 20 to 30 minutes most days over the last week, but probably not anywhere near as much as I should do. Now, I hopped on it last night, and I started getting some sort of a flow. Obviously, it was still very hit and miss. Some laps I felt great, other laps I felt like I couldn't go in a straight line still. And then I ran a lap which I thought felt like really good and really clean.
You're not that guy, pal.
And I thought, you know, if I try pushing much faster than that, it's going to be game over. I'm just going to like crash. The bike's not going to absorb the bumps well enough. The front end's going to tuck, any of the above. And it was a 1 minute 33. I then load up Discord, and I see a screenshot from Mr. Cam of a lobby with him and Aiden in it. Aiden had a 132, which I'm like, okay, you know what, I feel like I can possibly get that extra like half a second that I need to get into the 32s. And then I saw Cam's lap time. Cam had a 130. And I think it was like a mid 130. I don't think it was a really high 130 either. And I'm like, bruh, how on... Like, I'm not gaining 3 seconds anywhere, and I don't understand. So I think I might be in the same situation that I've been in for basically the last year, where I might end up being kind of best of the rest, or, you know, just on the bubble, getting in that P3 area. But for the sake of qualifiers, I really don't mind it. I'll happily take a P3 every single day of the week. I've also been... So I've been on a bit of a YouTube grind recently, not in terms of making my own videos, but in terms of watching other people's. And where I've started playing like the newest FIFA quite a lot recently, your internet hears you, your phone hears you, your YouTube recommended pops up with it. So I've been getting a lot of FIFA recommended content, and it's kind of taken me back to when I was at school, when I'd play like FIFA every day, come home and watch people like KSI back in like 2012 doing his old FIFA videos. And it's kind of got me interested in mixing up the style of videos that I do a little bit. I want to try and edit them together a little bit more, I think, and not leave it so one-takey, because a lot of my videos are, you know, just 15 minutes straight talking, no cuts, no editing or anything like that. So if the situation allows me to, if there's any, I guess, like jokes or memes that can be slotted in now and then, I'm going to try it, just to try and keep the energy of the video a little bit higher, make it not so, I guess, I think monotone is definitely the right word. I do think I come across as a little bit, you know, level for the most part, where there's no highs and lows throughout it. It's kind of, you know what you get in, it's quite medium throughout. So I want to try and expand a little bit, but it's also got me very, very tempted to finally go down that face cam route. And I've been doing a little bit of research. You know, you can get some fairly inexpensive face cams. Like, you can get ones from Logitech that just sit on top of your monitor, for example, for like 80 quid. But I feel like that would quite limit the quality of it. So I think it's probably worth going a little bit more expensive. And truthfully, what started me looking down that route is, as you know, my intention, whether it comes to fruition or not, I'm not too sure, but my intention was to vlog the LAN experience if I qualify for it. And so I said I would just do it off my phone, because I've not got a good enough camera for it. Obviously my GoPro is broken. Oh no, it's broken! GoPro just doesn't work at all. That's in the bin, it's done and dusted. And I was looking at possible vlog cameras, but I'm very, very open to recommendations. If any of you know of a camera that can be used for streaming and for vlogging at the same time, so it has that like PC connection where it can live stream, but then you can go and, you know, handheld walk around, very easily record stuff like vlog style.
It's your boy, Skinny Penis.
Please do let me know, because it's not the easiest thing to find information on, I'll be honest, because then I feel like I'm killing two birds with one stone, rather than buying two separate cameras, which can get quite expensive. You know, I think the one that I was looking at in terms of vlogging was around like the £700 range, but then I suppose at the end of the day, if I buy it, you know, that camera's going to last me probably multiple years. I don't think the quality or the expected quality of videos is going to go up that much. So definitely something that I'm looking into, definitely worth it. And I feel like we've got to the point now on the channel where, you know, we've got 50 over, oh my, what is going on? We've got to the point on the channel now where we've got over 56,000 people that have pressed that big red subscribe button. Also, please subscribe. And I feel like it's got to the point now where it is really starting to slow down. Like there was points in time on this channel where I'd see a consistent, you know, like 2,000 plus new subscribers per month when MX Bikes was really popping off in its peak and its prime. And over the last couple of months, it's gone down to below 1,000 now. So I also noticed a similar thing with Kellen's channel on Start Your Systems. Is it stayed at this like really high number for a really, really long time, and then it seemed like it took ages to just get it to creep over that 100,000 mark for him to get his plaque finally, because it was something that I always was keeping an eye on. And I do think it's genuinely, because we are a fairly niche community, you know, we're only so big, and I don't think that many people, if they stumble across MX Bikes out of the blue, if they're not really into motorbikes that much, they're not going to hang around forever. So I think it might finally be time to add a little bit more, I guess, personality to the videos, and finally go down that face camera. Could I double? Oh, okay. The brain's working. The cogs are whirring in my brain. That could be very, very fast. I didn't get it cleanly, but I'm going to give it another lap and we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I feel like it's time maybe to add a bit more personality to these videos and get myself out there finally. So one thing I'd be very interested to know is, what do you guys think I look like? Because obviously I make jokes on the stream now and then, like between me and Charlie, like we call each other fat. He'll like basically call me bald, for example, because his hairline is slightly receding. It's not the end of the world, don't worry. I'm not one of them guys that has completely bald top of their head and then they just got hair around the side. It is absolutely fine. But I'm interested to see what people think I look like, because I know firsthand, at least, any YouTuber that I've watched in the past that then I finally found out their appearance, I'm like, that really isn't what I was expecting. Prime example, which I'm sure some of you older folk can relate to back in the day, is no one used to know what Mr. Vanos Gaming looked like. I don't know, does Vanos still upload on YouTube? I have not looked in a very, very long time. But this is like prime, I guess, like Gmod days, when Vanos' stuff was just like, everyone was watching it when they'd go home from school. And I remember just being very curious, and then it finally came out that he was this like really well-built Asian guy, and I was like, I did not expect this. I didn't think this man would be Asian. So honestly, I think very many of you will be surprised when it turns out that I am black. I have to say it, eventually I know some of you would unsubscribe because of it, because you're all little racists. No, I'm joking. Please don't take that seriously. That was a little bit... I don't know where that came from. That was a little bit out there, but no. I'm very curious to see what some of you think. I think in terms of this space, in terms of the MX Bikes community as a whole, I think the only people that know what I look like is Gerb, Reese, Dad Shoes, Charlie, obviously. I don't know if Chicken does, because I don't think Chicken follows my personal Instagram stuff. But then Connor, who I've done a few videos with, and then Steez, who isn't about in the community anymore. I think they're the only ones that actually know my face. So it'd be very, very interesting to release, and I don't want to make it like a big deal when it does happen. I don't want to do like a whole video about a face reveal. I don't want it to be like Dreams, for example, where he just hyped it up and then everyone was like, oh, okay, is that it? So it'll probably just be built in casually in a video at some point, or at the end of a live stream I'll suddenly like flick to it and then disappear after giving you like 10 seconds. But I'm saying this, it's not going to happen tomorrow. So don't get your hopes up really, really quickly. It will be a case of it'll take time to get the right camera and then get it all set up properly. And I want to do it right. I don't want you to see me in like 144p for crying out loud. So, yeah, I mean, again, this all is a very long-winded way of saying what cameras. I'm very open to cameras for both stream and vlog at the same time. Should probably ask Mr. Reproduction though, since he's got very good camera quality. I should reach out to him. So after all this ranting and realising that I've pulled so many tear-offs in such a short time, I'm now getting dirt on my screen and I can't take it off, which I apologise for.
I cannot see, I'm legally blind.
I can't get rid of it. I'm quite enjoying this track. You know, it definitely feels easier than T-Bell's version of this. I think it's a little bit more open. You know, it's not so technical as T-Bell's, so you have a little bit more little breathing room in the corners and on the straights. There's one or two jumps that are quite peaky, but then the rest seem fairly rolled off, so you can get a little bit steezy if you want to, and I definitely don't think the 450 feels like overkill at all, and that's quite an interesting thing to say now, because I think these OEM bikes are the fastest bikes we've got in the game in terms of their top speed.
Stop the cap.
acceleration-wise, factory bikes are like far faster, like straight away. But in terms of top speed, I think the OEM bikes are actually faster overall. I get going into like some straights or going up towards some jumps, I'm like, Jesus Christ, I'm absolutely flowing around here. Like, I'm going so quickly. Also, shout out the default font on the front number plate. You see it down there, Del357. Oh, it's going to be so weird seeing everybody on exactly the same bike. Or is it? Because everybody was running the Yamaha and the Honda in indoors and outdoors anyway. So getting a field of red instead of half of a field of red and half of a field of blue. I'm enjoying this track. It's flowing nicely. I've only got the Aerodon 1, and it's a bit of an L for me because I did read on the MX Bike shop post from Dylan that if you buy yourself in testing, you should be sitting about 1.6. So I have no idea why I've kept it on 1. But you can see in some of the corners where I've taken the same line every lap, I think we've done about 5 laps in total throughout the course of this video. You can see it is starting to dig down and it is starting to erode. And I've seen some screenshots that he posted whilst testing out the erode with other track creators, and it does get pretty, I think gnarly is the right word to use, where you will have to pick your lines. The road does get pretty damn deep, but it doesn't get like super skinny when it gets deep as well. It stays quite wide, which should make life a little bit easier, so you don't get any of the weird front end physics, you don't get any just wonkiness in general, so it should be a lot more predictable. And if you do need some help with the ruts and the rough stuff, I would recommend just trying to stand up a little bit more, especially on these OEMs. I've been doing some experimenting to try and find the best way around some of the corners, and honestly, standing up everywhere isn't a bad shout. So I think Finn will very much be enjoying these OEMs, although I'm aware that he's more of a factory fan in general anyway. And honestly, before we get too blind in this video, because there is more and more dirt getting on the screen as I'm riding, not sure how well YouTube's going to show it off, but for me it's quite grainy right now. I think I might call it there. So this track is very, very nice. It flows really, really well. And now I've done a lap or two and I know like what to expect from the jump faces. I know how big all the jumps are. It's actually, it's very easy. I didn't expect it to be as easy as it is after playing T-Bell's version of this. The link for it will be down below, of course. And if you have ever been fortunate enough to ride the farm, which is it's a real track, by the way. I don't know if I've mentioned that at the start. Located in Dade City, Florida. If you've been lucky enough to ride it, IRL, has Dylan done a good job. And as always, I like you guys giving feedback to the tracks in these videos, and not just me. So if there's anything you like, anything you dislike, do leave a comment down below, because I know Dylan does watch these from time to time, and I'm sure he'll appreciate any sort of feedback you can give. I think it looks very pretty. The textures are quite easy on the eyes. You know, they're not too grainy, they're not too dark, they're not too bright. It's kind of like a nice middle area. In terms of environment, it's quite, I guess, like flat, open field with trees vibes, but having never ridden here in real life, I can't comment on that. It might be exactly like this in person. I believe it's a track that Dylan has ridden himself in person, so I guess it's got a little bit of extra love put in there. I know when I was creating my tracks replica, it wasn't a replica at the end of the day at all, was it? It was when I reimagined the track that I built. It was just nice seeing a track that I'd spent a lot of time on growing up finally be put into the game, so I'm sure everyone can kind of relate to that. That double is wild. You would not catch me doing that in real life. I'd have my tail between my legs. I'd be very, very scared to even try attempting a jump like that.
Today, Junior!
I reckon that feels so big in person. You have absolutely no idea. And there's no safe way out of it. Like if you case that, that is horrible. That looks like such a rough landing. But yeah, I think that'll do it for me. Overall, like really pleased with how this track's come together, and it flows really well and rides really well. Probably we'll see it in a couple of public lobbies in the near future. Even though it's a paid track, I know not everyone likes me doing lobbies on paid ones, because not everyone's into that sort of thing. But it does give some people that don't usually get into lobbies a bit more of a chance to hop in and race with the boy. So, finally, after all my waffling, we are done. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please do drop a like if you did, subscribe to the channel if you're new, all that good stuff. Comment for the